some childhood dreams that can take you very far.
I've dreamt about this for almost 30 years, ever since I was little.
At the age of 43, Sophie Adenot will be spending 9 months aboard the International Space Station, becoming the second French woman to ever go into space.
We want to see her constant smile. We want to hear from her. We want to follow her, and we want to cheer her on.
An extraordinary adventure, years of training, and a dream come true.
Sophie, with her training and background, has the basic qualifications that are just ideal for this profession.
A pilot, an engineer, and an astronaut, Sophie Adenot, a woman who's chosen to reach for the stars. Tears of joy as Sophie Adenot's lifelong dream of going into space is finally within reach. That day, she officially graduated as a European Space Agency astronaut.
I wanted to send to the people who hear this a message of hope, because when you take action and when you're not listening to people not believing in yourself, then great things can happen.
With her diploma, Sophie is one step closer to setting foot on the International Space Station, 400 kilometers away from Earth. Her fascination with the skies first started with her grandfather.
My grandfather was a huge inspiration to me. Unfortunately, because of the war, he never got an education. He knocked on the door of the Air Force and said, "Hello, I know how to fix cars. Can I be of any use?" That's how he went on to live all sorts of aeronautical adventures, and he'd tell me all about them. I was fascinated because I already had that little seed inside me, the urge to explore, to fly a machine. He spoke to me as a mechanic. He'd say, "Can you imagine? I've repaired a plane, and now I'm entrusting it to a pilot. The pilot will go on his mission, and I don't know what condition the plane will come back in." He would tell me all these stories. I was captivated.
She also watched in awe as the Russian Soyuz rocket lifted off live on air on the 17th of August 1996 and hurtled towards the Mir space station. On board was Claudie Ignoret, the first French woman to go into space.
Until Claudie's flight, there had been no French women in space, so I held on to the stories of other female pilots, female explorers. I read a lot of biographies, but the day Claudie lifted off, I told myself, that's it. There is a female astronaut. It is possible.
C'est possible.
I'm very grateful to Sophie for talking about that moment when she was 14, I believe, when she watched that 1996 mission to the Mir space station. It was widely covered in the media since I was the first French woman to go into space. And she already carried, even then, that spark, that dream.
At the time, I had this habit of cutting out newspaper articles. So, of course, I clipped every article I could find about her and about the mission. And I pasted them up on the wall in front of my desk. And when I was wrestling with my maths equations, that was my source of inspiration.
From that moment on, Sophie Adenot knew what she had to do. She started off by attending one of the country's top engineering schools, Superaero, in Toulouse. She then went across the Atlantic to pursue a master's degree at MIT, one of the world's leading universities, before working as an engineer for Airbus. But what she really wanted was to fly helicopters. So, at the age of 23, she joined the Air Force. In this news report from 2010, she can be seen flying a Caracal helicopter as part of her training for a mission in Afghanistan.
Allez, parlez tout le monde.
A few years later, in 2019, Sophie became France's first female helicopter test pilot.
J'adore être dans un cockpit en équipage, j'adore.
I love being in a cockpit, working as part of a crew. I love pushing a machine to its limits in a complex environment. going as far as what technology allows and testing it with that element of risk, that unknown factor that always comes with it. That's where I feel happiest. And ultimately, going into space is quite similar. You're inside this metal shell, you're together with a crew in a cockpit, heading off as a team towards the ISS. I like drawing that parallel.
As a helicopter pilot, Sophie has a major advantage. She knows how to work with procedures in highly complex environments.
When you're a pilot, you rely on checklists. You have clear steps to follow, whether things are going smoothly or not. Spaceflight works exactly the same way. There are procedures, user manuals. It's a bit more complex than assembling a piece of furniture, but the idea is the same. You follow the steps carefully, and normally everything works out.
Sophie is extremely driven. She knows how to stay focused in critical conditions. She's a good listener and highly motivated, determined to reach her goal, while also able to take a step back and keep a very strong sense of pragmatism. That's essential because she'll also have to deal with the unknown.
To prepare for the unknown, Sophie has trained intensively for nearly 3 years in Europe and the United States.
I almost feel like a child in a toy shop. It's wonderful. I want to learn everything, see everything, and understand everything. The training is relentless, but it's amazing.
In your field of vision, some sort of metallic structure from the ISS. And don't only look like this.
Wearing a virtual reality headset or immersed in a swimming pool, Sophie has had to prepare for one of the most demanding parts of the job, spacewalks.
It just rotated, so I just align it.
We use full-scale mock-ups that we can lower into the water with a crane, so we can recreate a kind of mini space station underwater. The advantage of this environment and the reason we train underwater is that, as divers know, you float in the water, much like you would float in space.
A training process where nothing is left to chance. But so far, Sophie has taken everything in her stride.
She is always positive. When she faces challenges where her performance might not be quite what she expected, she manages to turn it into something constructive. She'll say, "It's okay, I've learned something," and what she's learned will help her do better next time. With that kind of mindset, you're destined for success.
Another of Sophie's strengths is her daily exercise, including weight training and yoga. She's even become a certified yoga instructor.
During survival training, I remember we spent a night in the snow, and in the morning, as the sun was rising, Sophie was doing her yoga exercises in the snow. I remember thinking it was really great seeing her bring that kind of energy to the group.
Her ability to manage stress will be essential for Sophie as she prepares to handle life aboard the ISS.
Every task an astronaut performs is timed down to the second, with a red line representing the current time. The goal is always to stay ahead of that line.
Verify AOS time of the next Russian VHF site.
Every day there's 2 hours of exercise, because this is still a demanding physical challenge, 6 months in zero gravity, or even longer in Sophie's case. The rest of the time is split between ISS maintenance and scientific experiments.
The ISS is a floating laboratory. Over the course of her mission, Sophie's expected to carry out 200 scientific experiments.
One experiment I'm fond of is a space ultrasound, which we've been developing over time. It actually began with Jean-Luc Chrétien on his first flight. For Sophie Adenot's Epsilon mission, we're adding a new layer, augmented reality and AI, so that an astronaut with no prior medical training can perform high-quality ultrasound scans of organs entirely alone without support from the ground. The idea is a bit like a game, placing spheres into cubes. It's essential for space exploration, but it also has real potential for use on Earth, in medical deserts, remote areas, submarines, etc.
Beyond these scientific achievements, being in orbit will also be a unique, surreal experience that only astronauts can describe.
You're inside a space station orbiting 400 kilometers above the Earth, traveling at 28,000 kilometers per hour. You circle the planet every 90 minutes. That means 16 sunrises a day, rising over the curve of the Earth. These moments are truly magical.
Sophie wants to make sure she holds on to the sense of wonder she had as a child, as her lifelong dream finally comes true.
I'm also bringing with me the desire to leave some room for the unknown, to fully experience on an emotional level what it means to see the Earth from above. This beautiful blue planet that's right there, that's almost entirely visible.